My husband refused to answer my calls while I was in labor, and my brother played a horrible prank. Now my husband is furious I won't cut him off. My husband and I got in a fight prior to my daughter's birth a week ago, when he casually suggested a paternity test for our daughter when she was born. To be clear, this was completely out of the blue with no wanting or reason. I'm a homebody who works remotely with no male friends other than my brother. I told him that he was accusing me of infidelity, and he said he just wanted to be sure, and kept bringing it up until I told him, after 3 days of him asking and the stress starting to make me physically ill, that I didn't want to talk to him and left to my brother's house. I called him while I was gone and tried to work it out, but he refused. After all this, I went home the next day to grab some things while he was at work, and I went into labor. I called him 16 times, before calling my brother, who called him another half a dozen times himself while on the way to pick me up, and then on the way to the hospital. It was a horrible and traumatic birth. I started crowning in the car, and the doctor delivered my daughter in the back of my brother's van because I was too far along to move me, before rushing me in when I kept bleeding. It was horrible. I hated it all. My brother's wife, who is a nurse, even told me she honestly thought I wouldn't make it. I also opted for a hysterectomy as it came to that, or something more dangerous. I only ever wanted one or none, but my husband wants a large family. I'm trying to bond with my daughter, but it's been hard. The point is that during this, while I was returning from surgery, 10 hours after I called, my husband finally responded and asked why I hadn't answered his call. However, my brother had my phone and was so angry that he said, "This is Op's brother, I'm at the hospital. She didn't make it," and turned it off. My husband rushed over and got there when I had just woken up and started shouting until the security forced him out. And then didn't get to see our daughter until the next day, because I was mostly asleep and apparently they needed my signature to allow him back. My Sil thinks it was horribly cruel, but that he deserved it. But my brother stands by his prank and says that he only gave my husband 10 minutes of the same fear he had felt at my side for 10 plus HRRs. Whenever he sees my husband, he also keeps telling him that I nearly died because we waited for him. My brother used to be mostly indifferent to my husband, but now he absolutely hates him. You can see it in his face whenever my husband enters the room. And he's been visiting a lot because he doesn't trust my husband to care for me while I'm still healing. My husband is furious that he won't apologize and that I won't make him, and yelled at me when I said that the only reason my brother had my phone was because he wasn't there. I am trying to be empathetic. I know he feels guilty. I've spoken to my therapist, and she says the apathy I'm feeling is likely general and not solely focus on him from lingering shock from the trauma. But didn't say much about the prank. My mother-in-law has been texting me to say that my family is horribly cruel for the prank and that I should go no contact with my brother. And now my husband is saying the same. I just don't know what to do. I'm not in a good headspace. It's been hard to be in the same room with my husband, and I've been sleeping in the guest room with my daughter. He brought up the paternity once, and I just exhaustedly told him to either get out of my face or go stay with his mom if he's planning on stressing me out even more. I really don't feel myself. And yes, I am taking the likelihood of PPD seriously, and my therapist who has suggested that it may be PTSD too. However, I just want more opinions because I just don't know. Update 1. I can't update the old post, but since so many people reached out, I thought I'd make a new one. So, I don't think this will be something we can come back from. I just don't think I'll be able to heal with him, because there is no way he didn't know it was me calling, and he still hasn't told me why he didn't answer. I know I thought I wouldn't decide right away, but I actually don't want to forget how terrible it was waiting on him, thinking he couldn't possibly leave me like that, no matter how angry he was. I took the time to think of that moment before it all went down, and just how grossly betrayed and scared and alone I felt while the contractions were hitting, and I was on my knees trying to breathe through the pain while waiting on the phone while it rang, though. And I just don't think there's any coming back for that. I wouldn't want my daughter think it's okay to stay with a man who destroyed her trust that way either. I will be contacting an attorney, and will be meeting with them in the coming weeks. We had a prenup, so it hopefully won't be too hellish, I hope. I feel like this situation became even clearer when my friend asked me if I'd still trust him as the one to sign off on my medical papers, and the reaction to that idea was visceral. I wouldn't. And I want him to get off that legality as soon as possible, in fact. There are roommates I had in college would trusted more. I would have never ignored so many calls from him consecutively, unless I had told him expressly that I was unavailable at a specific time. And even then, I feel good with my brother and Sil here with me, especially so with her being a nurse and having been there through the birth. It's really helped us bond in a way that we'd never really had time to. I've also finally told my old friends about the baby, and they are alternating to come and help me out for the next little while. None of this even touched the paternity test, but I'll get it for the proceedings, I guess. So I guess he'll get what he wanted. Anyway, I'm safe and well. And my daughter is healthy and happy as a peach and pretty much an angel who is happy to sleep peacefully anywhere and took to the boob with ease, which is such a blessing since everything still hurts. Just making this decision has taken an odd weight off my shoulders, and my SL has been really helping us bond. Anyway, thank you for letting me write this out. I'm not good at diaries or journals, but writing to people feels different, and it's actually brilliant for the clarity of the situation. Even my therapist said that I seemed clearer and calmer. I might try a diary again as she suggested. Final update. Some intro in the case. Popped the paternity test question on me with no reason. We fought for a couple days before I went to my brother's. I was within 2 weeks of my due date. Went into labor at our house, called him 16 times. Father called him 7 to 9 more. He did not answer. My brother had to pick me up. Had a traumatic birth, was kept bleeding, was lucky to conscious enough to sign for myself to get a hysterectomy when things went wrong. Nearly died. He contacted me 10 hours later. Unapologetic. Has mentioned the paternity test against the week plus since. Still has not told me why he didn't answer. I will now be going forward with divorcing him, as I no longer trust him as a partner. We do have a prenup. Me with my house and my business, and him with money from his family. I do intend on filing for full custody, as I think his reaction, whether spiteful or not, was dangerous, and as a father missing calls. 23 plus in a row could be a life and death situation. Is it always worth investigating infidelity in divorces? If it's suspected. And do any divorce lawyers find this all seemingly suspicious in their opinions? I will be contacting my A lawyer this week. I will likely be getting the paternity test for the divorce. What do you guys think? Let's discuss in the comments. Follow and like for more stories.